We are so beautiful faces. We are so thrilled about the work that you do in our communities, and it is our honor to take time out and show our support for the things that you are doing. Right now, I'd like to take a moment for us to have a moment of silence and reflection and honor for the things that people locally and globally have done to alleviate suffering throughout our world. Please join me in this moment of silence. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to be able to get our program underway by introducing our wonderful and amazing Executive Director, Ms. Amy Lytle.
Thank you so much, Tori. I'm so appreciative for everyone who came out today. I know it still feels odd and different. I was like, I don't know what to wear. I can't wear sweatpants. I have to put some shoes. Who knows what shoes I have? It's very exciting to see a room full of people. After 2 years of doing this celebration virtually, it's just such a blessing for all of us to be together. I recently came back from a week of vacation over my daughter's spring break. And at the place that we stayed, there was a sign over their lazy river, which read, "Thank you for allowing others to enjoy an easy flow at all times." And I decided that this is an excellent life philosophy, especially when put in the form of a question. In my faith tradition, we are guided by a series of queries. And so this is the query from that. What have you done lately to allow others to enjoy an easy flow at all times? I know that the volunteers that we are honoring here this morning have, each in their own unique way, done so much to allow others to have an easy flow, even if they can't do it at all times. Volunteers like the nominees that we're honoring have been what has given me hope and inspiration over the dark days that we've all experienced in the past 2 years. They have been a light for me at the end of this tunnel. And this breakfast is really what gives us the opportunity to shine that light more brightly so that others can be inspired and hopefully have a much easier flow. This breakfast comes together every year only because of the great partnership between us and the United Way of Forsyth County, Salem College, and the Winston-Salem Journal. This partnership demonstrates our collective commitment to volunteers and the impact that they have in our community. This year, we are so extremely excited to welcome Bryant Federal Credit Union as our premier sponsor. Financial support really has allowed us to rebuild this event almost from the ground up with the years we've been together. As I said, it's really hard to plan during a pandemic. And so even though this is sort of a pandemic, it's not the before times, right? It's still a pandemic infused event. We want to make sure we're just so happy that we're able to do it. I really want to thank my staff who's done a lot of the heavy lifting for this event, especially Casey Katzek, who was our former VISTA member and is now our new marketing and development coordinator. Casey, can you stand up and give you a round of applause? He has done all the heavy lifting for this event, as well as my other staff members, Destiny Butler and Kathy Davis, who do this weekday. One reason I could have a great spring break just before this breakfast is because I knew that this event was in such capable hands, and I'm honored and humbled to work with them each and every day. I would also like all my board members to stand and wave because they have been such a source of steadfast support and encouragement. Many of you met them this morning as you came in. I know a lot of boards and work that we do. I hear a lot about boards that went radio silent during COVID, and my board did not, and I'm forever grateful. In terms of the breakfast, they challenged each other to put their own personal cash resources together as a group and collectively became a main sponsor of this event. So that's just that I get from my board. In addition to that financial support and in addition to Trillion's premier sponsorship, we're grateful to all of our other event and table sponsors, without whom this event simply would not be able to happen. They really support this event as a way to collectively show their commitment to the work that volunteers do each and every day to kind of keep our community running, which we've seen more than ever over the last 2 years. It also is what allows us to offer all of our nominees to come to this breakfast for free. All but one of our event and table sponsors are listed in your program. We do have a limited number of programs, but there are more on the table, as you actually can grab one. There's one that's missing, and that's the floral perspective. They committed a little after our print deadline, so I just want to make sure that I recognize them. Now, it is my honor and privilege to welcome Renee Shipko, a former board chair of HandsOn Northwest North Carolina, to provide a welcome on behalf of True Bryant.
All right, can everyone hear me? All right, welcome and good morning on behalf of True Bryant Federal Credit Union. This is a beautiful morning, thank goodness, right? See the sun shining makes me happy. Hopefully it makes you happy as well. A great morning for us to come together to celebrate volunteerism by sharing truly inspiring stories of just some of our community's passionate volunteers. This is one of my favorite events every year, and that might have a little hand in why we sponsor it, but it's also because the stories are just so amazing to hear what these volunteers have done for their organizations. And I hope that you'll walk away today feeling the same way that I do every year, and feeling really inspired by what you'll hear. Having worked in the nonprofit world for, again, what is that? 15 years before I joined True Bryant. I would say volunteers are the backbone of the nonprofit community that we have here in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County. Many of our nonprofit organizations were operating with very few or some no volunteers during the pandemic. And that was hard on a lot of our organizations. They would probably tell you the same. So it's good to see that as we open up just a little bit post-pandemic, excuse me, that we have volunteers coming back. And I know at True Bryant, as we begin to reopen our volunteer program, we have so many employees that are waiting eagerly to get back into the community. And I hope that our nonprofit organizations will see that as well. While True Bryant is about helping members and our community make good financial choices, we also are committed to giving back. That's why we sponsor events such as this one. It's also why we want to help honor the awardees today. This is important recognition. Some of our community's most vital lifelines are volunteers, but for those that we honor today, there are literally hundreds of other volunteers in our community doing very important work, just as important work. And so honoring this group today is really honoring all of the volunteers in our community. So thanks for letting us be with you today. Be sure to think about True Bryant when you have a financial need, but also if you have a community need and you'd like to have a speaker or possibly a donation or something like that for your nonprofit organization, be sure to think of True Bryant, and we'd be happy to speak with you about that. Again, welcome on behalf of True Bryant, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Renee. And I have been on panels and done presentations with Renee in the past about all kinds of nonprofit and civic engagement topics. And so I really would encourage you, if you're looking for a speaker, to reach out to her. I now want to thank Salem College, who, with our COVID appropriate reduced capacity, agreed to be our breakfast host again, finding somebody to host. 10 weeks ago when the virus looks different than it looks now, and probably will look different now than it will in 10 weeks. I want to definitely thank Dr. Sheree Fowler, who's the director of their nonprofit management and community leadership program, which has really helped facilitate this partnership that we had for many years with Salem, and I'm happy to be back on their campus this year. There were also some student volunteers who helped to direct your way this morning. On behalf of Salem, it's my pleasure to welcome Dean Daniel Prosterman, who's the Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs and Dean of the College, to the podium.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thanks everyone for joining us at Salem College today. It's so nice to welcome folks back to Salem. As many of you know, we operated remotely for about a year and a half in the midst of the pandemic, through which we still endure. But we were able to reopen our campus fully last July 1st, and it is so meaningful to have events, people such as yourselves back on campus. It's truly what I think makes our campus a vital place in our community, and we recognize and very much are appreciative of all the work that you're doing throughout our community to help improve it as well. So it's nice to not be on Zoom. It's nice to be in person, and we really appreciate that. Salem probably going to do it to me too, so it's not just for our guests. Salem proudly teams with HandsOn Northwest North Carolina in making the Forsyth County Governor's Volunteer Service Awards a reality each year. As you'll see with this year's recipients, this event celebrates and recognizes people who have made significant contributions throughout our community. They truly embody the qualities of volunteerism and civic responsibility that are so often championed rhetorically, but much more difficult to see embraced in reality. The partnership between Salem and HandsOn Northwest North Carolina has enabled this breakfast to become one of the most impressive and one of the most important volunteer events in the state each year. I wish to thank Casey, Amy, and all of the organizers from HandsOn Northwest North Carolina for their tireless efforts in support of these awards, as well as Dr. Fowler and her volunteer management students for everything they've done over the years for this wonderful event. Here at Salem, you may have heard that we're embarking on a new path for the liberal arts, one that focuses on health as a cornerstone of safe, secure, and equitable communities. We're exploring what facets of leadership are most likely to create positive health outcomes. And we all recognize, particularly in this room right now, that positive health outcomes don't solely relate to medical perspectives. They are also shaped by issues of social justice and equity and others that determine what factors truly make our communities healthy. Thank you again for helping make this morning possible. I'll now hand the mic back over to Amy to introduce our MC. Thank you.
Not touch the video. Casey Martin, Tech Guru. And we are streaming this morning, and this presentation will be on our Facebook page as well as YouTube channel later this morning.
Eventually.
This week, after Casey takes a nap. None of this work that we do, including these governor's awards, would be possible without collaborative and supportive relationships we have with all of you in this room. It's our partners, it's our volunteers, it's really you who make our mission of mobilizing people and organizations that inspire community change a reality. And if you want to know more about our work, we do have some brochures that talk about the other programs that we have on your table. We do have a change in our program this morning. Unfortunately, Kenneth Pettigrew cannot be with us. But I'm happy to let you know that Shelley Sizemore, who's the secretary of our board and who is with Wake Forest University's Office of Civic and Community Engagement, who's going to be our MC. Can you give it up to Shelley?
Good morning. Fortunately, the pollen has already given me a bit of a husky voice, so I think we're all in for a treat this morning. So I want to add my thanks to all of you for coming out today to support the Forsyth County's outstanding volunteers. As the world has changed over the past few years, we've all seen firsthand the work that volunteers have done to care for the most vulnerable of us and to mitigate the impact of the pandemic. While some volunteers still figured out a way to show up in person, many more found ways to serve virtually or remotely. Nonprofits adjusted to try and keep clients and volunteers as safe as possible while still providing essential services. In 2021, as the pandemic ground on, volunteering numbers did go down, but those that still showed up did so in a big way. The number of nominees we got this year reflected that reality, but their stories of service are compelling and inspiring. I still know that we are recognizing the best of the best that the county has to offer. This morning, we will be honoring 14 different category winners, including plus a People's Choice Award winner. We've included a list of all of our nominees in your program, and we will have other awards for them later on. But right now, I'd like to invite all of our nominees to stand, and so we can give them a round of applause. In our tradition for many years now, we've invited each winner to prepare a few words to share with us about their volunteer experience. After all, they are the reason we are here, and it's always better to hear from them than from us. I know that their stories will inspire you. After I briefly introduce each winner, I will then invite them to the podium to accept their award. Each one will then have an opportunity to speak for no more than 2 minutes. Unfortunately, we do not have Oscar music to cue you off or anything, but I will personally threaten to start singing if you surpass the 2-minute mark. You'll find detailed profiles of each winner in your program, so I'm going to keep my remarks on each winner brief to give them time to speak for themselves. Now let's begin. Our first category was only created a few years ago to reflect a reality that many of us who work in the volunteer area have long since recognized. That folks who give their time to animal-oriented nonprofits are some of the most dedicated and enthusiastic volunteers you'll ever meet. This year's winner is a testament to the magical healing interaction that can happen between a person and a horse. Over 40 individuals with disabilities have been able to experience that magic due to the unfaltering efforts of her service with Riverwood Therapeutic Writing Center. For her work in helping these individuals bring a new level of freedom and experience to their lives, we honor Dolly Jo Steelman with a Governor's Award. Dolly Jo is not able to come. Evie Crum will accept the award, and there'll be a video acceptance that will play.
It's very quiet, so I apologize. Oh, well, never mind. Okay, well.
No, we didn't test it.
Actually, we did. It's just not working now. Oh. Okay, well.
Yeah, Evie Crum, who's accepting, thank you. A newly refined category for these awards recognizes the volunteers who demonstrate outstanding commitment to our community's culture, history, music, and art. Our next winner has spent years helping at-risk youth discover and take pride in their own cultural history. This has led to increased educational success and attainment for the participants in last year's first ever graduating cohort of the Pride program. To graduate, each of these students also had to complete at least 150 hours of community service. For his part in making the connection between cultural history and success in school, we recognize Ethan Sharman B. King with the Governor's Award in the cultural category.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
And it is Ethan Sherman. Yes, it is a hyphen name, and I normally go by Ethan. And congratulations to all of the other nominees who were selected. I was very shocked when I got the thing, because I had kind of did get discouraged. I did fill out a leadership award. And then they told me I didn't qualify. And I said, oh, okay, well, that's good to know. I won't apply again. So, and then Maggie called and the person who nominated me from Hustle Winston-Salem, and she said, I think you deserve this award. I said, really? I was just very shocked when Casey sent the email, and I'm very humbled and honored. I know y'all say keep it at 2, which is very hard for me because I'm Black, and we don't, we just, But I wanted to talk a little bit about the purpose of HOPE. Hope Dealers stands for helping other people everywhere. We are in a dying world of people that need hope. In working with at-risk youth, I've learned a lot. And I've learned 3 things. Number 1, lose sight of your own need. When you lose sight of your own need, you understand a little bit more on what it is to serve, right? Because when you're volunteering, you're serving, you're giving back. You're not there for accolades. You're not there to receive a baton. Oh, I volunteered. No, you're there because there's a cause, there's a reason, there's a push. Then I learned you needed to find insight for your own need, right? Why is it that I am doing what it is I'm doing? While I'm doing this, is this helping me help someone else? Because your intellect, your inner self has to be in a right position in order to serve people. Because if your heart is not right, then you're in the wrong place. Then 3, you need to learn how to gain a new perspective of your need, right? What is the need of these people? Have you gained a perspective of why you have been serving these individuals? Have you learned what it means to be a servant leader, giving back to these individuals? And then how can we go forward beyond that? And that's all I want to leave with you today. Just those 3 little nuggets. Thank you so much. And
Now, our next category is a little different. It's the only one that involves a paycheck. The Director of Volunteers category was created by the Governor's Office in recognition of the fact that leading, managing, and mobilizing volunteers to serve others doesn't just happen. It takes a discrete and professional skill set. This category honors a paid staff member who excels at all of the different skills that go into mobilizing effective volunteers and keeping them volunteering. Start of the pandemic, our next winner led her team at Wake Forest University's Office of Civic and Community Engagement to create a virtual tutoring program from scratch that mobilized college students to support Winston-Salem Forsyth County students who now found themselves trying to go to school remotely. This program has been so successful that it continued through the last school year, even when students returned to classrooms, with several hundred volunteers serving virtually. For showing us all how to quickly manage and organize volunteers to help children keep learning during a community crisis, I am so excited to give my friend and colleague, Camry Wilbur Mercer, a longtime hands-on community partner, a well-deserved government.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all so much for this award. It is an honor, but an even greater honor to be able to do the work that I do, organizing volunteers and connecting them to a place that is so special to me. I'm from Winston-Salem, grew up here, went to Wake Forest, have spent my whole entire life here, and so it's a really special place. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to do what I do with my professional expertise and with my sphere of influence, to be able to make Winston-Salem just a more equitable and just place for all. So thank you so much.
The past 2 years have shown us all that disasters come in many forms. They can be natural, they can be human-made. Created to honor those volunteers who step forward and help strengthen a community's resilience and resolve in the face of life-disrupting disaster, no matter the form it takes. The disaster award is open to those volunteers that support disaster preparedness, response, recovery, or mitigation activities. During the ongoing disaster that has been the pandemic, our next winner has worked tirelessly to ensure that her vulnerable neighbors have the information and resources they needed to weather the storm as well as possible. She worked diligently to share COVID-19 safety protocols and vaccine information to the clients at Homeland Ministries, while also making sure that their homes and facilities were as sanitary and safe as possible. For demonstrating that there are multiple ways to respond to a disaster, we present Dinah Ashcraft with the Governor's Award in the disaster category. But Kenneth Holly, our esteemed board executive member, is going to accept on her.
I guess this is gonna be the shortest speech ever. On behalf of Diana Ashcroft, who is really a community impact person who loves volunteering, and at this time she was not able to accept her award because she is volunteering for the food bank at Homeland Ministries. I accept this award on her behalf.
Our faith-based category recognizes that so much of the caring for our neighbors is generated within the multiple and diverse faith communities that bless our city, as well as the realization that for so many of us, service is a central part of how we live out our faith on a day-to-day basis. When our next winner relocated to Winston-Salem from New York, he wanted to make sure that he had the same outlet to express his faith-based work with the unhoused that he had spent decades working with previously. In City with Dwellings, he found a partner that could help shepherd that work in multiple ways, as well as provide avenues to service with other faith-based groups, including Catholic charities. For showing us how faith can move you to serve the marginalized, we recognize Louise Nixon with the Faith-Based Governor's Award.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, hopefully I can keep this under 2 minutes. I want the lights to flicker. So easy to brush me off. But thank you all for this award. I'm not that much of a good speaker. I want to let you know that. But my heart is filled. Thank you very much for this award. Very early in my life, I learned about service and caring for those who really needed. At a very early age, 154 now, I entered a monastery and our order, the Franciscans, many times when I joined the order, I was always late for mass services, going to teach a class or something, but there was always a plaque that I would always run by, and it was called "What Should I Do?" And in the Catholic monasteries and convents, the founders would put little plaques everywhere with little sayings. And so over the years, that affected me, where I said, well, what must I do as a human being? And I took that to net over a series of years, coming out of my comfort zone to do something for humanity. It is true that I don't like awards, but I do appreciate this one. I do like to stay in the background. When I was told that I was picked for this, I said, oh, well, can I pick it up somewhere else? Do I have to speak, or anything like that? Just give it to me and I'll go on my way. But in my life, especially working in hospice care and with street people for many years, it is those people in society that has taught me how to live. It is those people that have taught me to learn from people, also how to love the unlovable. I think a lot of us have had to deal with people that were unlovable, but how do we try to be Christians and move onward and work through that? That's the difficult task, but how to love the unlovable. But thank you, and I appreciate it with all my heart. Thank you so much.
The number one reason why people start volunteering is because they were asked. Volunteering with someone we already know and admire is how many of us first get introduced to new organizations. And volunteering provides crucial social connections, especially during a pandemic that required us to socially distance for so long. The next Governor's Award recognizes those volunteers that serve together in a group or team, working to support one another even as they work together to better the community. This year's winner proves that even what looks like the driest of tasks on the surface, data entry, can be enjoyable if you're working with people you love, you enjoy. Together, this team leverages data to strengthen the impact of the experience offered to those staying at the FCCU Family House and to increase the effectiveness of the house to tell their own story to others. For demonstrating how a team can be greater than the sum of its parts, we honor Teresa Hampton, Keith Fowler, and Ann Moorhead with the group award, team award. Lilly Curtis will accept this award.
Congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lilly Curtis, and I'm the volunteer and community outreach coordinator at the FCCU Family House. And it is my honor to read a short statement from each of these three wonderful volunteers. We're so grateful for all that you do. As it says, you make a huge difference, one line of data entry at a time. So we're very grateful. I was kind of hoping, even if I don't take longer than 2 minutes, you think. This is the note from Teresa. To be a part of such a wonderful organization and to know that I play a small role in helping the FCCU Family House succeed is very rewarding. I have met some very sweet guests and worked with many great employees throughout the past 10 years that I'll always cherish. Our note for Keith. In my 6 years of volunteering at the FCCU Family House, I performed several different functions before becoming a part of the data management team. With some of those functions, I had direct contact with the guests staying at the house, which always gave me an appreciation for the purpose that the family house serves. Although being part of the data entry team does not put me in direct contact with the guests as often, it has made me realize the magnitude of the challenges faced by the guests, from cancer to trauma to organ transplants, not just in North Carolina, but across many other states as well. I feel inspired to be part of a team that provides help and comfort to those facing these challenges. And then our note from Anne, who could not attend today. Once the kids are gone and the job is behind you, something needs to fill the void and give you purpose. Volunteering is a great way to give back, not only to your community, but also to yourself. As a volunteer at the Family House, I am able to put my computer skills to good use in a work environment that I enjoy. Plus, I get to interact with a great group of dedicated individuals, both employees and volunteers. The compensation I receive is knowing that I'm supporting the work of these individuals to keep the doors of the Family House open to people in need. Thank you for this honor.
Teresa, Keith, and Ann are not the only volunteers that thrive at the SECU Family House. As a health and human service organization providing needed respite and hospitality to families that are traveling to Winston-Salem for medical care, the Family House engages volunteers in numerous ways every day, and nothing communicates welcoming hospitality more than a home-cooked meal made with love. For over 5 years, our next winner has been making sure that the Family House's Merry Meals program keeps delivering for guests because it is these meals made and shared with care that help make the Family House a true home away from home. For being the hostess with the mostest, we're giving Sarah Clutt the Governor's Award in Health and Human Services.
Thank you very much for this award. It was unexpected, and I really appreciate it. You've heard from the last honorees a little bit about the Family House. It has a wonderful mission to provide a home away from home for people who are receiving treatment at local hospitals or family of adults who are receiving treatment. In my day job, I'm a nutritional anthropologist. And what that means is we study why people eat what they eat. And one of the reasons that people eat what they eat is because it reminds them of things. It reminds them of family, of home, of good times. And so in the work that I do at the Family House, we try to recreate that. One of the things that we do when we cook our dinners is try to put something in the oven that will smell. We baked a ham last week, and everyone who came in smelled that ham. We sometimes bake ziti, and they smell Italian food as they come. And so it's been a real honor to work with the families there, to hear their stories, and to be able to provide them with home meals that remind them of that. Thank you very much.
The next category is also a newer one for the Governor's Award. It was created to highlight the impact that volunteers from the Latinx or Hispanic background have on our local communities. And this year's winner is a clear demonstration of that impact. The nonprofit that she founded, Soy Emprendedor, works to foster the entrepreneurial spirit of Latinx students in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County school system, leveraging the power of relationships with other community partners as well as other community volunteers. The program provides coaching, mentoring, and financial incentives to encourage the development of the students' own business ideas. We're honored to recognize Carla Hans with the Governor's Award in the Latino category.
Morning, buenos días. Good morning. My name is Carla Hans. I am so honored to be here. I am the founder of Soy Emprendedor. I am an entrepreneur in Spanish. It is a program that started 3 years ago, certainly not just myself, but I have the honor to be today. And the mission became my life mission. I've been here for almost 13 years. I'm from Mexico. My brother is here too. And it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing because not all the time I look all well put together because it's not been easy, but today we're honoring each other, seeing each other for the work, and I see you, you're a leader. Mr. Nixon, I'm with you. I was very nervous because we do this from the heart, right? And from young age, I just wanted to do something that was beyond what I can explain with words. So thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing the Latino community, because it's an example. I'm very nervous to be here in front, but I know many Latinas and Latinos out there that are afraid to be seen. So you are seen. Thank you to my daughter. I don't know if we're gonna go to McDonald's after this having a beautiful breakfast. So Emprendedor is putting the seeds in the community. Most of our Latino students have never been downtown, and they just be 5, 10, 15 minutes away. So I invite you that we honor each other and listen to each other and help each other to change that. I am extremely proud, and it's an honor that the students and the parents have put so much time and also the trust to this organization. And I hope that I can see many of you and that you see myself also in the organizations. Thank you so much to my family, to my husband who couldn't be here today, to my daughter, and to everyone who has believed in this mission. Thank you.
Next category is also a little different than our others. Typically, our winners are recognized for their outstanding work in the preceding year. However, we know that many of our best volunteers have been giving up themselves for much longer than that. In some cases, much, much longer. Our Lifetime Achievement category recognizes those individuals who have truly taken to heart the maxim that service is the rent we pay for living on this planet. Since founding his own nonprofit as a volunteer in 1975, our next winner has spent a lifetime in service. He's always been a guy to see a need and then figure out a way to fill that need. Most recently, this has manifested in spending 20+ volunteer hours a week in founding and building the CARES project, which enables those who otherwise would not be able to access traditional vehicle lending programs a chance to own their own car. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities because having safe and reliable transportation means access to better paid jobs too. For demonstrating that there's always time in one's life to serve no matter where you are in life, we honor David Roddick with the Governor's Award for Lifetime Achievement.
I'll just say that I've been blessed, okay? And the biggest blessing in my life has been able to serve others and to see them blessed. And I know a lot of people in this room know what that means. Whether you're young or older, to be able to help someone see them blessed, gives me the blessing. I wanted to share this shirt. I've been watching the slides. I think I was wearing this shirt when you first opened it. But the emblem on it, which we're still using, is the sign of a hand reaching down and pulling someone else up. Just a secret, the blue is United Way blue by design. Because United Way of Davie County, one of the beaches, helped this get started. In fact, we worked as a team, and one little quick story is we were looking at different ways to do this, and somebody finally, a friend over in Greensboro said, well, why don't you become a CDFI? And I'm going, okay, a community development financial institution like a bank. And so anyway, I went back to Melinda and I said, maybe we should be a CDFI. She said, well, why haven't we done this all along? And I said, this is going to be really hard because a CDFI is a community development financial institution under U.S. Treasury. And if you want to process an application, that's nuts. But it worked, and we've had favor with it. And now, CARES project is not only serving Davie, but other counties, including Forsyth, offices here in Forsyth County, And it has a great staff, and Scott McLaughlin is here, who is the CEO now and doing wonderful things. But thank you very much for doing it.
Now for a new category. For the first time, the governor's office has created a category to recognize those volunteers who work to undo the systems and the effects of those systems on traditionally marginalized groups. For example, girls of color continue to face especially challenging hurdles in their quest for success. For the past 6 years, our winner in this category has worked tirelessly on behalf of the young women that are part of the Lead Girls of North Carolina. As their longest serving board member, she has been instrumental in supporting and organizing their work and the efforts of others. She also lends her talents to organizations that serve other marginalized populations, including those dealing with substance use and chronic homelessness. For showing us that no one should be left on the margins, we're excited to give a governor's award to Tiffany Hart.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I just wanted to say thank you this morning. So thank you to the governor's office and to HandsOn Northwest NC for honoring those of us who continue to serve this great community. I'd also like to thank Lead Girls of NC for nominating me for this award and for being an organization that has shown me what it truly means to be a part of a working board and a nonprofit that makes a real difference in the lives of at-risk and low-income preteen girls. I'd also like to say congratulations to the other award winners this morning, and they feel appreciated today and always. Thank you.
One of our most competitive categories every year is the Senior Volunteer Award. At a time of one's life when most of us would be slowing down, our next winner is still inspiring others to speed up and step up. His work with the Shepherd Center of Greater Winston-Salem is all about engaging other seniors in the civically minded way. He definitely recognizes the power and need for open and honest conversation around traditionally difficult topics. This kind of civic dialogue can be just as valuable civic engagement and is the work of his thinking outside the box conversations that he facilitates. For helping to foster a culture of deeper civic engagement with other seniors, we are honored to present Peter Jennings with a governor's award.
I feel very honored to be with all of you. This is a beautiful group right here. Lots of volunteers that help other people and animals. Many years ago, my father was with the State Department. We were in Germany. He was helping reconstruct the accounting and financial system of West Virginia. We had moved several times. One of them was out of Berlin, but there was a starving young lady that came to the door of my parents' house, and she just wanted some food. And they took her in and allowed her to help with us kids, and so brought her back to the U.S. when we went, and she was with us for another couple of years until she became a fair agency in New York City. Her career was a wonderful career, and I wondered why my parents did this back then. When we lived in Haiti, there was a priest on an island that took care of people that were sick, people that had diseases and things like that. And I was wondering why he did this. He actually passed away helping these people. And later on, when I got into business, I volunteered for hospice. That's when I realized how life could be very short. And I realized it's important to help everybody. So volunteering for the Shepherd Center for older people that have had a spouse die or they can't get around, they can't go to the grocery store or to the doctors to help them. It really dawned on me when I was playing some music for a dementia patient, and they were smiling and telling me their story. And it was just heartfelt and I got so much out of it. That's why I volunteer to help people, but I get a lot out of it as well. Thank you for allowing me to receive the support.
Our next category was designed to honor those who take the time to forge relationships with children who are not their own. Children, especially if they have special needs, benefit from long-term relationships with caring adults, especially those who are not legally required to be there. Our next winner was not going to allow the pesky pandemic to get in the way of maintaining a relationship with the students at the Centers for Exceptional Children. For much of 2021, this volunteer found creative and unusual ways to engage the children in virtual story times that made characters come alive and that continue to demonstrate to the children how much they care. Now that they are back in person, she's often found in the classroom and helping out at special events. For all that they do for the students, families, staff, and teachers at the Centers for Exceptional Children, we recognize Cindy Ball in the Service to Youth category.
Morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, thank you for this opportunity and for the award. It was a surprise to be nominated, and it's an honor to receive the award. And I congratulate everyone else that's here who's also experiencing this morning. I look at this event as more of an opportunity to share with you Centers for Exceptional Children, because it is indeed a blessing in my life. The event celebrates the children and their families, and the staff that works at CFEC, the leadership team, fellow volunteers that I work with, and the board. I believe in serendipity. When I was 2, I had a little sister who had special needs. She had the opportunity to get a special children's school as well. This was back in Missouri. And she was one of 5 kids, and we had a great life. But today she lived at home until she was 33. But then she lives in an assisted living place now. But she's healthy and active, and she achieved what she could achieve in this world because of the special children's school. And serendipity steps in your life early on when she was 2 years old and had first epileptic seizure to leave to meet this Winston-Salem. I run a house just down the street from the children's center at Ronaldo. Then my first exposure to the school when I got a tour of it was a United Way kickoff meeting at work. And I got a tour and I saw what was going on there. But it wasn't until in 2016 someone asked me to be on the board. Someone spoke earlier today that you get asked often, you'll find a volunteer. So I joined the board, and for the last 6 years I've been able to contribute to help the kids, to help the staff. To do what we can. So the Centers for Exceptional Children, if you aren't aware of what it is, our goal is to help children with their special needs and their families to thrive. Our mission is to educate, nurture, and support the children with special needs and their families. We want them to reach their highest potential intellectually, emotionally, socially, and physically. CFEC supports all kinds of things, from therapy to education to extended days so that families can continue to work full-time hours, to summer programs, our infant toddler program. We start in the NICU the day the babies are born and help them all the way through their 21 years of age. So we help lots of families, people that just need the help. And if you aren't aware of what it is, I'd ask you to go online, look it up, see what Centers for Exceptional Children can do for you or for a friend of yours, and support them any way you can with your time, your talents, or your treasures. Thank you.
Next up is a category that honors a volunteer that is a veteran or a volunteer that provides services to veterans, first responders, or their families. This year, we're honoring a veteran who takes the time to provide special treats and baked goods of joy to the homebound patients of Trellis Supportive Care. Affectionately known as the Cake Man, he supplements the healthy groceries he delivers as part of their Principal Plates program with homemade baked goods. Because we all know that while having access to fresh fruits and vegetables are important to those facing cancer and other potentially terminal illnesses, it's really the baked goods made with love that spark true joy. For adding some sweetness into the lives of Trellis's patients, we're happy to honor veteran Stan Schumann with a governor's award.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
When you think of a veteran, most people think of a guy carrying a weapon and shooting somebody. But for every soldier that is in the field protecting you and your rights as an American to live the life you want, there's probably 4 guys sitting there supplying the weapons and munitions that they need in order to protect you. Every story you hear when you have veterans that get together is about, well, I had this mission, I had that mission. But when you see a veteran, just know that they have the liberty, you have to enjoy the liberty and rights that you have because that person volunteered, put his life on the line to protect you, and give you the freedoms that you enjoy with every breath you take. It's a pleasure to be able to harass the people that tell us, thank you, Rebecca, to be able to go and deliver sweets to people. They nicknamed me Sweet Stan. I call myself Sweet Stan. I have to get somebody. And it's a joy to be able to sit there and to watch people that is significant thing in their lives and their families be able to do that. A little bit of happiness, and especially to be able to talk to veterans and to relive some of the things that just very precious moments. Thank you all.
Last but not least, we're going to talk about the Zoomer generation, sometimes called Gen Z, although that implies they may be the last generation, which isn't particularly the message we want to be sending in the pandemic. Recent research has shown that they are the most civically engaged generation in the country right now. They are also a generation that has seen their lives significantly disrupted during the pandemic. Just think, almost all of today's high school students haven't experienced a normal year of school since middle school. Today's winner in our youth category exemplifies the phenomena that despite or perhaps because of the challenges that youth have faced during the pandemic, many of them have continued to step up and support their peers. During the height of the pandemic, she helped to pilot the virtual and in-person tutoring program, or VIP tutoring as it goes, founded by another high school student, our winner in this category last year. The program provides near-peer tutoring services, allowing older youth to support younger youth with academically and socially. She's helped the organization continue to grow over the past 2 years and continues to leverage her language skills to increase access to the program for a wider variety of students. Ashley Silva Martinez continues to show us that the youth are all right. And for that, we're pleased to present her with the government. Hello, good morning. I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey volunteering and sort of where it all just started. I was a young 11-year-old entering 5th grade when I first got the opportunity to participate in a volunteer activity. During recess, instead of running around the playground with other kids my age group, I would spend time with preschoolers. We would read children's books, build puzzles, and color. If I wasn't spending time with the preschoolers, I would talk to the preschool teacher by completing small tasks. This included doing things such as cutting out shapes and putting popsicle sticks in bonbons and zip lines. At that age, it felt amazing to be able to help others. I would talk to my peers about spending time with the preschoolers. And unknowingly, these small acts were the beginning of my extensive relationship with volunteering. Although a lot has changed about me since I was 10, my love for volunteering and the effect it has on me remains. I still get a feeling of satisfaction after every volunteer activity. Now I can say that I volunteer with Educators Warehouse, Southside Library, Wake Forest Baptist Hospital, and Faith Tutoring. With VIP, I serve as the Hispanic Student Outreach Coordinator, and recently I've been named Secretary of the Nonprofit Board of Directors. I'm beyond thankful to Ella Burke, our Executive Director, for choosing me to be part of the team, and I'm excited to see what she will do for our community through VIP. But most importantly, I hope to continue to immerse myself in the world of volunteering and for my relationship with volunteering to grow more. Thank you. We only have one last award to give out, our People's Choice Award. While all of our previous category winners were chosen by a volunteer committee, the members of which are recognized in your program, this winner is chosen by members of the public at large through an online process developed and hosted by our partners at the Winston-Salem Journal. Their online platform allows readers and visitors to read brief profiles of each of our nominees and vote for their favorite, and vote they did, with thousands of people casting their votes all of last month. And in a relatively rare occurrence, the People's Choice is a volunteer that our committee had already decided to honor as the category winner. This year, the People's Choice Award goes to Tiffany Parks.
Surprise, she doesn't necessarily know that she wants. Thank you.
Just in addition to all my other thank yous, I'd like to thank everybody who voted for me because this award belongs to all of us.
We also have some additional recognition for all of our nominees and winners. We have a certificate of appreciation from the state of North Carolina for each of you. In addition, we're also excited that so many of our nominees qualified to receive the President's Volunteer Service Award. HandsOn serves as a certifying organization for these awards, which are based on the number of hours of volunteer service in 2021. More about these awards can be found in your program, and just like the People's Choice Award, these awards should also come as a surprise to our nominees. These awards are split into 3 categories: gold, silver, and bronze, and lifetime. I'm going to read the names of the winners in each category. Please hold your applause until all of the names have been read. Winners of the President's Volunteer Service Award can pick up their award, which includes a certificate and a special pin, at the table on your way out. Our Lifetime Achievement Award winners, who have given more than 4,000 hours of service, are David Roddick, Dolly Jo Steelman, our 2 lifetimes. Our gold winners, who've given more than 500 hours in the past year, are Dinah Ashcroft, Ethan Sharman, B. King, Carla Mounts, Louise Nixon, and Daniel Rock. And our silver winners, who've given between 250 and 499 hours, are Peter Jennings, Keith Fowler, Teresa Hampton, Sue Ann Langford, Ann Moorhead, Tiffany Harms, and Stan Schumann. Our bronze winners, who have given between 100 and 250 hours, are Ashley Silva Martinez, Sarah Quant, and Cindy Day Wall. mental math, but that's a lot of collective hours in this room. Finally, we'd like all of our nominees and winners to remain in this room for photos at the conclusion of the program. Thank you all so much for your service. That is it for me, and now I'm going to turn it back over to Amy, who will introduce our closing.
All of our winners. Now it is time to welcome a representative of United Way of Forsyth County to do our closing. Unfortunately, Mark Buren, who is listed in your program, could not be with us this morning, but Brittany Pruitt-Fletcher, who is their chief of staff, and I'll note one of our Women's Emerging Leaders alums from HandsOn is here to share some remarks too.
It is an absolute honor to be here with you this morning on behalf of United Way of Forsyth County. And thank you so much for the partnership with HandsOn Northwest North Carolina to host and bring this beautiful event together. As Amy said, I'm Brittany Pruitt-Fletcher, the Chief of Staff at United Way. Many of you probably just recognize the name, the signature at the bottom of your email, and maybe the title, because the last 2 years that I've been here has been throughout the pandemic, and I haven't got to meet a lot of people face to face, so it's really, really nice to visit. When I learned that I was going to be doing the closing remarks today, I thought about all of the volunteers that made an impact in my life, and all of those little nuggets of information that they passed on. So one of them came to mind this morning. I have a volunteer in Davidson County who would say, use the KISS method. Are you all familiar with the KISS method? Keep it simple. That's what I'm going to do. The folks that were the winners, congratulations. The nominees, thank you and congratulations. But I would dare to say that probably everyone in this room has volunteered in some capacity at some point. So if you'll just indulge me, and if you volunteered, whether it is formally or informally, at any point in your life, and if you'll just look around the room and the folks at your table, and if you'll just give them a very heartfelt thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so very much for being here. Thank you to the committee and to the HandsOn staff for bringing all of this together, especially for the first time in 2 years. I think we've all learned, probably getting dressed this morning, that it's sort of like riding a bicycle. We can actually do it. Thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate all that everyone in this room does to make our community a better and stronger
For many, many years before HandsOn came into existence in the fall of 2007, which reminds me that we'll be celebrating our 15th anniversary of HandsOn, believe it or not. Chuck Craft, our founding board chair, is here. It's such a wonderful milestone for us. And you'll hear more about how we're going to celebrate that over the course of the next few months. If you're feeling inspired by all of these stories that you've heard today, I would encourage you to consider giving a small gift to HandsOn in honor of your favorite volunteer, whether that's one of our nominees or another volunteer in your life. And we do have a few donation envelopes on the table as you exit to make it easy for you to do so. Also, as Shelley mentioned, please be sure to stop at the table on your way out to pick up your President's Volunteer Service Awards or your certificate from the governor. And then we'd love for the winners to kind of just gather in this corner so we can take a final group photo. And we're also giving away the centerpiece flowers. So you're welcome to take the flowers. Please leave the vases. We're going to be good stewards of our resources, but the flowers were actually donated to us by Trader Joe's, and so we'd love to pass that joy along to all of you this morning. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time this morning. Have a wonderful rest of your day and go forth and consider what you are doing to allow an easy flow for others. Take care.